How about you? I'm Hank. Today we're going to do the 100-hour review of the T574 from the TYM Tractor Company. So I was bush hogging today. I got close to the 100-hour mark. It's 99.6 hours. I'll show you here in just a sec. 99.6 hours on the clock, and I thought to myself, I said, well, it'd be a good time to do a 100-hour review of the TYM T574. We picked this tractor up in January. It's July 4th now, so 6 months, something like that. We've had the tractor because we got it mid to late January, and now we've got into July here. So we've had 6 months, put 100 hours on it, something like that. I do want to say that we're sponsored by TYM, but that is no way affecting our review. I always tell people, you know, if you question your own integrity about what you would say if someone gave you a product, that's your problem. I don't have that problem. I'm an honest guy, and as a Christian, when I get to Judgment Day, you know, I've got a lot to answer for. Lying about a tractor ain't gonna be one of them. There's several channels sponsored by TYM. Tony's Tractor Adventure is the premier TYM channel. You have Stony Ridge Farmer, Nathan from Out of the Woods. You have Daniel Arms Family Homestead, Evan over at Country View Acres, Susanna over at WT Farm Girl, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple of other ones as well. But I mean, they've got 6, 7, 8 channels that are sponsored by the tractor company. We used to be sponsored by Branson, and I get asked all the time, do you like the TYM better than Branson? There's a couple things I like better on the Branson. There's more things I like better on the TYM. I'm going to cover that in this video. Like I said earlier, I did just finish bush hogging or brush hogging, whatever you want to call it. So I ran it to the pressure washer, kind of rinsed it down, and then I didn't want it to be too dirty when I talked about the review here. So let's get into the pros and cons of the TYM T574. Some of the things I like right off the bat. Let's talk about creature comforts before we actually get into the mechanical side of the tractor. The cab is so spacious, all right? And so you have so much room inside the cab that it's crazy. Now that's a big pro, but it's also going to present a con to you, maybe. One of the things that I have found is the visibility while hooking up the front end attachments is a little difficult at times. Now once you get used to it, or if you keep your implements or attachments on eye level, like I have a couple of pallet rack systems behind my pole barn, when I have those on the shelf, when I have the implements on the shelf or the attachments on the shelf, it's easy to get the attachments put onto the skid steer attach system. But if they're flat on the ground, sometimes it's a little challenging to see where the quick attach plates are and they line up with the attachment you're trying to put on. That's because I think you have, and you may be like, you're crazy, Hank, but I think it's because you have so much room in the cab. So the cab is so spacious. It's probably the most comfortable cab I actually sat in a tractor. I did a video, golly, man, it's probably been 2 or 3 years now, and we went and looked at TYMs before they even sponsored us, and I talked about how I like the cab on the TYM. So it still holds true today. If you're looking for a spacious cab with lots of room, very comfortable, you can't go wrong with this TYM T574. There's a couple things in the cab that we need to talk about. I like running it with the LCD feature of the temperature, the info feature that has the temperature and the volts on it, and that tells me how warm the tractor is getting. Down here in Florida, I've bush hogged in the middle of the day in probably 90-degree weather at the hottest, and I've seen it get to about 186, 188 degrees, and then that's as hot as I've seen it get. And I'm sorry, I did see it get to 190 one time. I cut it off and went and cleaned out my air filter, but this hot, like normal running temperature, I operate between about 176 and 179, something like that. But I have seen it get as hot as 188, something like that. So I don't usually try to run my tractor that hot, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it starts to matter until you get well into the 200s, to be honest with you. I use that temperature gauge in the information display to tell me how hot my tractor's running. One thing I have done inside the cab is I've adjusted the loader stick, the joystick for your front end loader. When it comes, it's going to come a little far out for me for my comfort. And so what you can do is you can take off the part of it, the little plastic part around the floorboard. There's a nut there, spin it 180 degrees, and it's a little closer. Now, I will say this, it works great for me, but my buddy Wiley, have you seen Wiley in some other videos? He thinks it hits too close on his thigh. And so you just have to take, you know, your half dozen there. If you like it out here, that's fine. If that's comfortable for you, if you want it closer to you, you may. I don't have that problem, but Wiley said it hits his thigh when he's running the loader on it. So just take that into consideration if you want to turn that joystick around. Now, speaking of the joystick, the third control function is controlled by the third function. That's hard to say. Third function control is controlled by these two little buttons on the handle. And I like that. I like it a lot. The Branson, now this is something the TYM does a lot better than the Branson. Now, TYM actually owns Branson. I don't know if you knew that or not, but they acquired 100% of the Branson Corporation this year. But anyway, the function, the little two-finger push buttons, a lot more operator efficiency, a lot more ergonomically comfortable. But the Branson, you had to hold the lever, push the joystick over or whatever. I said that in several videos. I didn't care too much for that, but it worked. It's a good system, but the little buttons, much gooder, more gooder, as they say. So I like that. Now, one thing Branson I thought did better than the TYM, Branson's vents inside the cab were placed better than the TYM. The TYM has these 4 vents across the top, and they work good, but the Branson had the ones across the top, and they had a couple on the side, which hit you hit your nugget on the side as you're working as well, which was a good feature. So the vents do work, and they work good, but the Bransons worked a little better in my opinion. So if that's something that's important to you in this big spacious cab, maybe they work better because they were closer to you, because this cab wasn't as big, right? The cab, the levers and all that stuff, I like it a lot. And then let's talk a little bit about the 3-point control function on it. I don't mind where the handles are at all on the 3-point system. You got a draft control, 3-point lift control, and then you have 2 slots in the back for your rear remotes. I keep a hydraulic top link on mine, and it works great. Now, what I have done is I have actually loosened the tension on my 3-point lift and lower arm. And so that, a lot of times when you first get it new, it's a little tight and it's real sticky, and it makes the implement jump up and down a little bit when you're raising and lowering it. Well, you can go underneath there and loosen it up a little bit, and that will help make it more smooth to raise and lower your implement. So no issues there. Inside the cab, I'm telling you, the cab is a 9 out of 10, hands down. It's the best cab out there. Let's talk about some of the things as far as the mechanical condition or the operation of the tractor from the mechanical side of things. The lift capacity is fine for a 55 horsepower, a couple thousand pounds, a little over 2,000 pounds. I didn't look at any specs at all before I started making this video, because I didn't want to give you wrong information or whatever. I just know that I've got loaded tires in the rear, and I keep an implement on the back, and I can lift quite a bit of weight on the front. Of course, that is, the Homestead grapple that I use is only 200 pounds, 300 pounds, whatever it is. So it's a super light grapple. So that has some, benefits as well. But the tractor, super powerful. I have no problems with it at all. I have bush hogged, I have tilled, I have box bladed, I have land planed. You name it, I've done it. And this tractor has not given me any issues whatsoever as far as what it can perform for the task that I'm using it for. This is the first time I've had a hydrostatic transmission, so that took a little bit to get used to. I'm not going to lie. There's a whine associated with it. After I did my 50-hour oil change on it, I put new hydraulic fluid in it, new hydraulic transmission fluid in it. That quietened the whine significantly, but there is a whine associated with it that you kind of just have to tell your brain that the tractor's not struggling, it's designed to be that way. And now I don't even hear it, so once you get a couple hours into it, if you've never had a hydrostatic before, it may kind of throw you off a little bit. Don't worry about it. A whine is normal. And like I say, I put Rotella. I was going to use Traveler's Premium in the oil change, but Tractor Supply was out of stock. I ended up going with Shell, Rotella. I can't remember the exact brand. The exact nomenclature. Maybe, I can't remember. Whatever it was, GL5, GL6 for the wet brake system, universal hydraulic fluid system or whatever. And that quietened it down quite a bit. And it was, now I don't even notice that it's there. I have just now, literally probably an hour ago on the time clock, started to develop a creep in the hydrostatic transmission system. What my buddy Tony tells me, that's kind of normal for all hydrostatic transmissions. There, you can adjust a turnbuckle type style. I don't remember what he called it, but there's a linkage in there that has some nuts and bolts associated with it that you can adjust to keep the creep, to readjust it so that the creep doesn't happen in the transmission. One thing I've been super happy about is the fuel consumption. It doesn't drink a lot of fuel. It does very good. I don't know the calculations of how much fuel per hour or whatever. I just know it doesn't seem like I put a lot of fuel in it during the day. So I can go out there and I can bush hog all day, come back, still have plenty of fuel in the system. So that makes me happy because I think that it's a lot better than what I remember my previous tractors. I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I would already be, down to a quarter of a tank at this point, or, even needing to fill up on some of the other models that I've had. So I'm really happy with the fuel consumption on the T574. Another thing I'm happy about is the little lever in the back to raise the 3-point linkage from outside the cab. That's such an easy feature for tractor manufacturers to put on tractors, and it's so convenient. Some tractor manufacturers don't do that for their tractors, and I don't understand why they don't do that. It's a great feature, and I love having it on here. I did get a backhoe for the T574. It is 100% easier to put on than any other backhoe that I put on before. You line it up, you put the subframe under it, and then you drop 2 pins in it. It's super simple, right? It's you don't have to take the 3-point arm linkage off. You don't have to get up underneath it and try to flip things up and down, and it's a-okay, right? The subframe just slides in. You have to be careful that you line up straight, because if you line up crooked and it's at an angle that's not permissible for the subframe to go in there, you have potential to hit your hydraulic filter. Just be patient, and then just be cognizant of, you just want to go slow, just ease back in there and let the tractor do the work. Super easy. I'm not an expert at taking the backhoe on and off, and I can take it on and off in 6, 7, 8 minutes. It's super easy. You don't need 2 people. And it's just, I'm telling you, the design on this is a lot better. Now, obviously, you don't want a backhoe that is going to connect to your 3-point system anyway, because those put a lot of strain. You want a subframe on a backhoe, and the subframe that they got is just easy. It's got some little slots that you slide it into, and it's, like I say, a guy like me that doesn't do a lot of backhoe work on the compact tractor, I took it on and off in about 6 to 8 minutes. So I like how they designed that. Again, I've got 99.6 hours on the machine. I have yet to experience a regen, so I don't know what that process is like because I haven't went through it yet. So I've got 100 hours on the machine, no regen. I will say this, I run my tractor at 2,000 RPMs pretty much constantly, unless I'm pulling a PTO powered implement, and then I run at about 2,500 RPMs, whatever the little yellow mark is on the tack there. I do run it at high RPMs. Maybe that's why I have not experienced a regen yet, but I have not experienced a regen in the first 100 hours. The hood of the tractor is easy enough to raise up. You take your brush guard down with these 2 little screws here, and then you simply raise your hood up. The air filter is super easy to access, so you can clean it while you're bush hogging or working on your tractor. So that's no big deal there. All the fluids are easy to check. They could put a bigger dipstick in as far as the handle goes. I mean, hook that little yellow thing up with your hand behind the oil filter. But it is what it is. But come on, TYM, give me a bigger hook for these little. But the fluids are easy enough to check. I do like, and this is something else I like a lot about the TYM, is the hydraulic fluid is actually a dipstick on the rear end there. So I don't have to try to fool with a sight. Sight glasses are worthless unless you have a sight tube, like the 310 backhoe had on the John Deere, or some of these other pieces of heavy equipment that actually has a plastic tube on the outside of the hydraulic tank. Okay, those are fine. A sight glass, you can't even see the hydraulic fluid anyway because of the color, but the dipstick is a lot better. I put a purple dye from, I bought it off Amazon somewhere, and that helps me see the fluid on the dipstick. And so if you're having trouble seeing your fluid on the dipstick, buy the hydraulic dye. It worked good. It helps you see it a little better. But I like the dipstick 100 times better than a sight glass. So I put 100 hours on it. I love it. It's a good tractor. It's a strong tractor. It's easy on gas, easy on fluids. It's done everything I need it to do in the first 100 hours. The differential lock works on the rear end. The brakes, the independent brakes work. The steering brakes, I guess some people call it, left and right. They work great. The power steering in it is perfect. There are some things that I think you should do when you first get the tractor. I think you need to check the lug nuts on them, right? So if you'll see here, I put paint stripes across the lug nuts, and so that helps me to kind of do a quick visual of the lug nuts. And I also did it on the frame bolts. You know, I kind of torqued those when I first got the tractor home, because those are common areas for people to complain about. Oh my goodness, my tire fell off. Well, did you ever check your lug nuts? So check your lug nuts when you get them. I did a video on the top 5 things you should check for when you buy a new tractor. I'll link it right here. So go check that video out as well. Actually, I think I'll link it right here. But anyway, wherever the link is up here. I put those stripes on there, the paint marks across there, and I think that's will help you when you're doing a visual walk around. I added that hydraulic top link and done some things like that. But, you know, other than that, it's been a good tractor. I highly recommend them. It's a great company. I've met a lot of people from corporate and a lot of dealers. And they're just good people, you know. They honor their warranties. They've got the fair pricing. They'll work with you. So, you know, as far as a company goes, it's a really, really solid company to work with as a YouTube creator. But even as a tractor operator, it's a good deal to have a good dealer like that as well. And some of you may say, well, you're a YouTuber, they're going to get you your parts quick or whatever. Number one, I haven't had to ask for any parts yet. And number two, I don't think so. You know, the supply chain's the supply chain. It's if they don't have parts, they don't have parts. I don't think that I would get special treatment as a YouTuber is what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, they sponsored a channel. Yes, they provided the tractors, but in exchange, we're working the price of the tractor off in the contract. You know, it ain't like they gave it to me for free. I've got to work. Yeah, it's a two-way street. So I don't think they treat any of us YouTubers any different. I think they understand that we have a broader reach to help them build brand awareness and things. And they respect that, and we respect that, you know, in exchange, we'll help promote their products. But I think that the YouTubers that TYM selected to represent the brand are fine people. I don't think they're going to lie about anything anyway. So if you're watching these videos and you think to yourself, well, you know, they're only saying that because they're sponsored, it's just not the case. It's just not the case. I know with the exception of WT Farm Girl, I've never met her. The other ones I know on a personal level, and they're all just fantastic people, and I know they're people of integrity. Super humid out here today, super hot. Just finished up. I got to go actually till the field behind me and get that ready for a sunflower field that we're planting here at Black Barn Blossoms. Let me just tell you, I like the tractor. I like the tractor a lot. I haven't had any issues on it. They're a great company to work for. Does it have some creature comfort things that I would prefer that they did different? Sure. It doesn't everyone, right? But reliability, dependability, capacities, I'm super happy with it. I'm proud to be a TYM ambassador. I'm proud to be sponsored by them. They're a great company. It's a great tractor. And if you ask me, do I like it? I love it. You know, and I'm not gonna tell a lie about it. I absolutely love the tractor. I've loved how it's performed for me, and I would recommend it to my closest friends or to any of my viewers out there. So I appreciate you watching. I hope this answers some questions. I tried to think of a lot of stuff that you may. You know, you can get specs and all that from the interwebs there, but I try to answer some common questions like, hey, would it do this? Would it do that? For what I've done on my 75 acres, it's worked out great for me. I highly recommend them. I appreciate you guys watching. Take care. God bless you guys.